Hi, scholars. So today we're going to be doing art and history, or really more art and culture. We're going to be looking into an Asian form of art called origami. And this is a practice that some of you are already familiar with. I've already seen some of you guys make these. So I'm going to be making it along with you today. If you don't know how, join me. I'm going to be doing my best to articulate and to tell you how to do it as I'm doing this. We're all going to be starting with one full-size piece of paper. Mine happens to be blue. Yours can be white. It could be pink, purple, green. It could be a scrap piece of paper. And the number one thing we need to start this project is we need our piece of paper, or a regular piece of paper, to be a square. There's a couple ways that you can do this. You can certainly take out your ruler, you can measure it and make sure that the width measures the same as the length. Another way you can do that quickly, is to take the top corner or the bottom corner, as this is showing here. And I'm going to actually kind of change that so that you can get a little bit more of a view. And I'm going to take this top corner and I'm going to fold it. And when I fold it, I really want to make sure that this edge lines up. I want a really pointy, beautiful tip here at the end. So you're going to make sure that it tracks perfectly that corner down, and I'm going to fold it. Now, because I have my corner down here, I know that I've now created a square. And the only part I don't need is this part that's above my folded pieces of paper. So I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to hold it down on that fold, and I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut right along that line, because that's going to give me that perfect square that I need. This piece of paper can just be set aside. We're not going to be needing that for the rest of this lesson, but it would be fun to make it into a bookmark or something so that you don't waste it. So I'm going to open up my paper, and again, now I have that perfect square that I really do need. I have a crease going this way, and because I need my paper to be flexible later, I'm going to try and make a crease going this way so that I almost have an X on my paper. So I just took this corner and went to here. Now, when I unfold it, I'm going to take this corner that's at the end of the crease and bring it to the other corner that's at the end of the crease. So I'm going to take this corner and I'm going to fold it directly across. And again, I want those two corners to kiss or to be exactly on top of each other. You'll know you did it correctly if you fold it and you get a perfect triangle. Your corner should be exactly lined up, all three of them. And again, I'm going to unfold it. So now I have that X in my square, or that plus sign in my diamond. Now I'm ready for the next step. My next step is I'm going to take each of my corners and I'm going to fold them to meet this perfect center that's right in the center of my X, or right in the center of my plus sign in the way that I'm holding it. So I take this corner and I fold it carefully up so that it points right to that center. And I'm going to just kind of draw this line here so you can see what I'm doing, because it might be hard to differentiate it. So I have my corner here. Next, I'm going to turn my paper and I'm going to do the same with this corner. Now you're going to know early if you went too far, because your paper will start overlapping and we do not want that to happen. So I take this corner, I go to the center, and again, just so you can watch what I'm doing, I'm just going to draw this line here so you can kind of see where my pieces are. So I have two arrows pointing towards the center now. I'm going to turn my paper again. If at any point in this video you need to pause so that you can catch up, or because you need to do a step over again, that's all right. Pause it and join us when you can. My third corner is also going to be pointing to the center. And again, I really want to make sure that I'm not overlapping my pieces with one another. They really need to have their own space. So if you're going too far, you're going to know, because your pieces will overlap. So I have three arrows pointing to the center. I need one more. It sort of looks like an envelope right now. My last corner is going to point to the center. Now, before I do anything else, I want to double check my points. I want to make sure they're all pointing to the center, and I want to make sure that none of them overlap. If they overlap, it's going to make it hard for our fortune teller to work later. You'll also notice if I just leave it be, it sort of looks like the Sega symbol as well. We have so many symbols and logos in our life for us to be thinking about. So now I have my paper. It's a perfect square still. It's just a little bit smaller than it was before. Now I'm going to take my X and I'm going to flip it over. Now I have a perfect square. I see a little bit of that plus mark again, but I don't see any of the corners that I used to have. This step is going to be exactly the same as the last step we did. So I'm going to go corner to corner. I still have that little bit of an X or that plus sign in the folds that I've made earlier. And I'm going to take my corners again, and I'm going to fold them to the center. I'm going to make them point to the center, and you can kind of see those lines from where I drew earlier. So one corner points to the center. I turn. Another corner points to the center. I turn. Another corner points to the center. Turning. And another corner. Now, just like I said on the other side, you want to make sure that your corners do not overlap. They should be able to easily do themselves because you're going to need that later. Our last step for now is going to be to take our square, and I'm just going to fold it directly in half. There was already a folded line under there, so I'm going to fold right on that line. And when I do that, I notice I just have 2 squares left. Now here's the tricky part to explain, so I really want you to use your eyes. I have my paper on this side, and I have my paper on this side, and they look the same. You'll notice if you look at me on the screen that can see me, I have little flaps here on both sides. And I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to put them into or underneath those little flaps. I'm going to kind of pop them out so that my fingers are inside of them. Then, this is the tricky part, I'm going to take my right hand and my left hand and I'm going to push them into each other, push them into each other. If I fold them this way, it won't do anything, but I push them into each other, I now have a little fortune teller. And you can see that I can open it, and open it, and open it. So now that we've made our origami piece, we have to actually turn it into a fortune teller, because right now it's just a little folded piece of paper. If you don't want to make a fortune teller, you can also make these into little puppets, add little eyes here, some mouths, maybe some ears, and make them talk. And you can have a little puppet show if you want to as well. But that's not what we're doing today. But it is another thing you can do using the same exact folding instructions. So the way you do the fortune teller game is you have to start by, on all these squares on the outside, we're going to color or write a color. I'm going to write a color because it's going to help me spell it out later. So, oopsies, my color is going to be blue, B-L-U-E. I need a second color, and that color is going to be green, G-R-E-E-N. And again, it's important to know how to spell these because it is going to be useful while we're doing our fortune telling trick. I'm going to flip it over. I still have 2 squares left. I'm going to make one red. And then I'm going to make my last one, let's do yellow. Y-E-L-L-O-W. So I have red, yellow, blue, and green on my fortune. This is going to be the first thing that someone can ask to have you decipher as you're making this fortune teller. My next step, I'm going to unfold it again, and I'm going to unfold it one more time so that we're back onto these triangles. Remember when we were having them do the corner. You'll know you're on the right side because one side has colors. When you flip it over, the other side has numbers. Now you can choose whatever numbers you want, but understand that whatever colors you do choose, you're going to have to count that many. So I wouldn't recommend going too high. You don't want to count to 100 every time you give someone their fortune. So I'm going to choose smaller numbers. I'm going to start with number 8. That's one of Ms. Schmidt's favorite numbers. I'm also a big fan of the number 12. I might choose the number 4. They don't need to be in order. It's really up to you. The number 6. Now, so far, I'm noticing I've really only done odd numbers, and I don't want to do that because if I do an odd number, I'm always going to end up on the same thing because it's going to be even. So I'm going to choose lucky number 7. I'll choose number 13. Maybe I'll choose number 5. And let's see, one other number. I'm going to choose 9. So now I have my numbers. And again, you do not need to have the same numbers as me. You can if you want to, that's certainly okay. But again, I certainly don't recommend that you do anything higher than 20. It will get boring for you. It will get boring for the person whose fortune that you're trying to tell. Now I'm going to go inside. Now I'm going to unfold this and I'm going to unfold it carefully because I don't want to mess up my folding or my origami. So now it's open, and once again, we have this square and it's open. On each of these flaps, you're going to write a fortune. Now, I'm going to make mine pretty positive. You can make yours be whatever you want them to be. It is your fortune teller. But good news is definitely okay. So I'm going to say, my goodness, my markers, my friends. One thing that's good about this quarantine is I'm certainly finding out how many markers I can rely on. Today will be a good day. In my head, I'm trying to think of fortunes that I might see on one of those 8 balls that were cool when I was younger. So I might say, please try again later. I felt like that was always the fortune that I got. It's like I never had a fortune. I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe I have one that's not so good. Let's see. Bad luck is coming. Oh no, I hope nobody gets that one. And how about success is yours? That's a nice one to end on. All right, so I have my 4 fortunes. I'm going to go ahead and fold it back up, hide those. I'm gonna fold this in half again, hide my numbers. And then just like I did before, I'm going to put my little fingers, here comes my cat to mess everything up. Excuse me, my friend, excuse me. I'm going to put my fingers inside my fortune teller. And I guess Khaleesi really wants her fortune to be told. I'm not sure. She's very much trying to be a part of this right now. Yes. No, 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 no. Nope, nope, nope. Nope, nope, nope. Boop. Boop. Crazy kids, you know? So now we're going to do our fortune, and I'm just going to do one through with you so that you can see what it looks like. So when you do a fortune for someone, you're going to ask them first to choose a color, any color. Maybe they choose yellow. You're going to spell that word while opening your fortune teller. So I'm going to say Y, E, L, L, O, W. Now your person has a choice of numbers. Oh, that works out. I have evens and odds the way I wrote it. So that's very good. So they can choose a number, any number. I have 6, 5, 4, and 13. Let's say they choose number 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now they can choose from 9, 8, 7, and 12. And whatever one they choose now is going to be their fortune. So let's say they choose my lucky number, number 8. We open it up. Oh, today will be a good day. Scholars, again, this is something fun that you can do over and over again. You can make several, you can make more than one fortune. I chose when I made my fortunes to use both sides because my marker's a little bigger, but maybe you have 2 fortunes in here, one for each number, and that's all right too. So go ahead and experiment again if you want to. Turn these into some puppets because that you can put on a whole show. You could write a play. Boop, boop, boop. Thank you so much for joining me today for our ancient origami art and for kind of taking a travel trip across the world, even though we're stuck at home. I look forward to doing more projects with you, and I will see you soon. Bye, scholars.